Hi all. Today in this session, we will check few more functionality, how we can implement few transformation using data from and data flow. And here we will be using the source as a SQL table for us. So let's see the source data first. So this is my SQL DB, and here it contains the customer table, customer address, and address table. So let me show you the data for customer table. So here it basically contains the customer ID, name, style, title, first name, middle name, last name, and company related information, address information, and phone number, and few more details. And if you go to customer address, it contains what is the customer ID and what is corresponding address ID. And which type of address is it? Is it main office or which type of address is it? Then if I go to address table, it will show me the detailed address of this particular address ID. Let me run this particular query. Here you can see we have this address ID and its corresponding details like what is the address line 1, address line 2, city, state, country, port, zip code, and all those. So we will be joining these three and we will be deriving some output. And let's see how we can use these three tables as a source in Data Factory. Let's go to Data Factory. So first of all, we need to create link services. So here I will be using the source as my SQL database, and the target will be the blob storage. So let me create two linked services first. First is SQL database. So I've selected the appropriate subscription, server name, and the database name. And I need to provide the user ID. And provide the appropriate password and provide the appropriate name for this link services. Let's click on test connection. So the connection is successful. Let's create it. Let's create a new link service for blob storage. Select the appropriate subscription and the account number and click on test connect. And let's provide appropriate name also, blob storage. So my link services are now available. So I need to go to author and there are three source system for me. So I will be creating three data set here. So let me go to data set and click on this new data set. Search for SQL database. Click on continue. First one will be for my customer. Click on this appropriate link service and then click on the appropriate table name. My table name will be customer. So click on OK. So the customer dataset got created. Let's create two more. Again, SQL database. Here it will be for customer address. Provide the appropriate link service and then select the table name. So it is customer address. Let's create one more. SQL database. Continue. It will be for address. Provide the appropriate link service. Then it will show you the appropriate table name that you need to select. Click on address. Now click on OK. Okay. So now let's go to data flow. Now let's create a data flow, new data flow under this data flow section. So you will see a three dot here. Let's click on this three dot, new data flow. And let's create an add source. So this will be for my customer. And here the source type will be dataset for me, and the dataset will be customer here. And here the option, we have three options here. Allow schema drift, which says that it will select, it will allow the schema drift if the source column will be changing. So it will be allowing those. And yeah, validate schema. If you see the validate schema, it will check whatever schema you have provided in the projection, is that column and the schema available in the source file or not. If it is not in sync, then it will be failing. And here in for drifted column type, so it will be automatically detecting the drifted columns and it will be accepting it. So this is my source. Now let me go to the source option. Here I have select, let's keep it as default. Now let's see the projection. So here it provides all the columns that are available in the table and its corresponding data type. Like here it is customer ID is integer, name style is boolean, and title is string, and modified date is timestamp. So this is the projection. Now suppose I don't want all these columns, I just want few of the columns. Now let's see, in this table there are so many columns available. Like in customer table we have so many columns available. Customer ID, name, style, title, first name, last name. But I don't want all these things, I just want a handful of things. So let me select this customer ID, first name, middle name, last name, email address. Let me suppose I want only these four columns. So I can do these things. I can only select these columns. So what I can do, I can go to the source option. Instead of table, I can select this query and I can paste the query here. It will throw some error. So here I need to remove. You need to remove the semicolon here. And now let's go to projection. Let me click on import projection. So now you can see the new projected schema has popped up. Here I can see I have only customer ID, first name, middle name, last name, and the email address. I don't have any other details. So here one thing you need to notice, once whenever you're providing the details, you just need to remove that semicolon at the last, else it will throw error while informing the schema. Okay, so here we have a schema. Yeah. Now we can go to inspect and we can see it says that how many columns are there from the source. Total, there are 5 columns that I'm pulling, and these all are the details. I can go to this data preview. If my data flow debug is enabled, then only this data you will be able to see the data in data preview. Yeah. Now let me add. So this is the data that I am getting. Now let me add one more source. So here it will be customer address. And here again, it will be the data set for me. And the data set I need to select is customer address. Let me select the by default one. Source type, let me make it SQL only. And let's see the projection. And let me click on inspect. Yeah. Now let me create one more source. Here, this is for address. Let me select the source type as dataset and select the appropriate address dataset. Let's go to source option once again. Let me provide table. Let's see the projection. So it contains all the columns. Okay. So now what we can do is we need to join these three columns so that we can create a final target data set. So for each customer, what is the corresponding address? I want to see that in my target. So the customer table contains only the customer ID and the rest customer related information. Customer address table contains the customer ID and the address ID. And this address table contains the address ID and the address related detailed address information. So I want to club these three so that for each customer, what is its corresponding address, like address line 1, state, zip code, those things. If I want, I need to join customer with customer address, then again customer address with address table. So let's do that. Let's click on this plus sign, select join. And here the left stream is customer. The right stream will be customer address for me. So you can see it got linked to customer address. Let's select inner join. And in the joining condition, here it will be the left will be customer ID equal to right also will be the customer ID. Now let's go to inspect. So here you can see these all are the joining columns, customer ID from customer and customer ID from address. Now let me click on this plus sign and I need to join this output with this address table. So for that, what I need to do is I need to click on join. And if I go to this join to, so my left stream will be join one, which is a combination of customer and customer address. And the right stream will be my address. And let it be inner join. Here my joining condition will be the address ID. Address ID equal to the right will also be the address ID. Okay. So now let's inspect. So here you will see I have customer ID coming from customer related information is coming, customer address related information is coming, as well as address related information is also coming here. So now let's preview the data. So this is how the data will be coming after this join to is done. Here we have the customer ID, which says 123 means it's a long. And here again, we have the customer ID. And two customer ID, one is coming from customer table and the other is coming from the address table. Yeah. Then we have the first name, middle name, last name, then address ID, then two address IDs are there. And then the address related information is available. Okay. So after this, I don't want all these duplicate columns to be available, right? So what I can do is I can filter out which all columns I don't want. So for that, I need to click on this plus sign. I can click on select. So here we have skip duplicate input columns. So as we have seen here, we have customer ID and customer ID. So both are duplicate input columns. So those two input columns will be removed and skip duplicate output columns here. So from the output. So now let's see. Let's go to inspect. So if you see here, there are 4 columns that are dropped and 15 columns are unchanged. Now let's go back to this once again. So here it is saying skip duplicate input columns. Skip duplicate input columns means in the same input file, If we have duplicate columns, then it will be removing them in the same in the same input. If the same input column is used in one of the mapping, then it will be skipping that. And if we are using this skip duplicate output column, then in the output, if there are some duplicate columns coming up, then it will be removing them. For the time being, let me disable these two. And it shows that what is the mapping here. So as I have disabled it, let's go to inspect. So here you can see there are total 19 columns from the source that is going to the target, which is in unchanged. So let me go to select setting once again. Let me select skip duplicate output columns. Now you can see there are few things that are marked in red, like customer ID, address ID, address ID, modified date, modified date. So those are duplicate columns. So that's why it is marked in red. So let me select skip duplicate output column. So now you can see 19 mappings and 4 columns from the input left unmapped. And here you can see there are 4 columns that are dropped. That is, customer ID is coming from 2 sources. One source it is pulling, that is from customer. And similarly, if you see here from customer address, the customer ID is now removed. And customer address, we have this address ID, but from address table, we are not having that address ID. We are skipping those. Same thing for modified data also. So 4 columns are getting removed here. So now let me preview the data. Yeah. So what we can do is I don't want all these columns to be available in the output. So for that, what I can do, I can just select whatever the columns are required in the output. I would be only opting for that. So here, I don't want this row QID. Let me delete this. Let me delete this. Let me keep this address ID. I don't want this address ID. I don't want this row ID and this modified date also. Now let's see inspect. I don't want this modified date coming from customer address also. Let me delete that. Let me remove. Yeah. Now let's see. So there are 6 columns getting dropped. 13 are unchanged. So now this is the data that we will get. Now let's put this data into a sink. So I will be placing that into the blob storage. So for that, you will see there is a sink destination here. So you can click on this sink. If you click on sink, it will provide you. It will ask you for providing the settings, properties. It will be basically the target, and we will be selecting it as data set, and we have not created the output data set. So basically, I can click on this new. Let me select blob, and let me select it in parquet format. Then output parquet. Let me provide the link service, and let me provide the output And let me select this import schema as none. Okay. So let me keep rest all things as intact without any changes. Let's click on refresh and let's see how the data comes. So this is how the data comes. Let me, so there will be basically 417 records coming from source to the output. Let me click on validate. So it is now successful. So if I need to run this particular workflow, then we just did the data preview here, but we would like to run this particular data flow and create the file into the storage account. So for that, what I need to do is I need to click on this pipeline, click on new, and here let's provide the appropriate pipeline name, demo pipeline. And under this move and transform, we have this data flow. Let me select this and let's go to setting and select the appropriate data flow. That is a data flow 1. Let's keep rest all as intact. Click on validate. So it is now successful. Earlier we were in the earlier session, we were checking how we will be doing the debug so that no need to publish them into the live environment. We were just running. So basically debug is when we want to do some development and run it in the fly and check how the data comes. But here we want to deploy it. So let me click on this publish. So all the data set, data flow, and the pipeline will be published. So let me click on publish all. So these all are the changes that we have encountered. And let me click on publish. So now it is published. Now what I can do is I can just click on this trigger now. Let's click on this trigger now so that it will get executed. We click on OK. To check the execution progress, so let's go to monitor. And here you can see under this trigger, as we have not used this debug run, we have used trigger option. So that pipeline is available here. So it's currently in progress. Let's go inside this pipeline. So it will show you this workflow. And it's this is the activity that we are using, this data flow. So here it is in progress. We can go to this particular data flow details. So now we can see the data flow is has succeeded. Let's go to this stage. Yeah, before that, let's see here it shows that how many records were written. There are 417 records that are written into the output, that is in the target sync. And if you go to stage, so for each stage, like for customer, it has a customer table, it has read 847 records. From customer address, it has read 417 records. So at each stage, how many records were pulled, it is providing that. And for each component, how much time it took to execute, that is also provided here. Now, if you go to lineage, so this is my target. And it shows that this particular target column is mapped from which particular source file or source table. Like for last name, you can see here customer is being pulled from uh, last name is pulled from customer, a country region is pulled from address, and so on. So Yeah. So now the data flow has succeeded. Now let's see how if the data is if the file is created in the storage account or not. So for that, I will go to storage account. Under that container, here is the output, and under that we have this parquet. So this is the file that is created. So it will be parquet. It will be creating the multi-part files. So this is how the file is created. So in this session, we checked how to create a data flow. We just tried to check some real-time example for doing some using the source table as a source, uh, SQL table as a source, and doing some transformation, joining few multiple tables, and doing some few basic transformations. I hope this session is helpful. If it is informative, then please like and share the video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.